And welcome back. This is your man Warrior. This is another patron roster review, and this is Legacy from Global Elite. And I just wanted to shout out Global Elite and especially 808 Boss. He's another patron of mine. He kind of took Legacy under his wing and has really helped Legacy out. And Legacy just really wanted to give a shout out to 808 Boss for doing that. It's really cool, the community that I have, the patrons. They all talk to each other. They help. I've got people from all swaths of life in there. I've got free-to-play, pay-to-play, Dolphins. I've got people who've played for 2 years, people who've played for 2 months. So it's a wonderful community of about 130 individuals who really work together. So shout out to 808 Boss again. Thank you very much. And Global Elite, thank you very much for reaching out and helping Legacy. Pretty awesome. So Legacy started out like many people, jumped in, loved the game, spent a bunch of money. He would classify himself initially as a whale, but then as time has gone on, he's played for about 7 months. The last month or two, he started to be turned off by the way that the pay-to-play model has started to evolve in the game, with certain characters being locked behind certain paywalls. And so Legacy has gone to free-to-play over the last month or so and has decided he's probably not going to spend a whole lot, if any, money. This is a bit of a trend I'm noticing with a lot of my patrons. They went from spending money to no longer spending money because of the frustration with the game pay model. So hopefully EA can figure something out and try to go back to the original way that they had the pay model built initially, where everything eventually goes free to play. That would be cool. Well, anyway, Legacy, you wanted to know about Arena, is what you've got good, ships, what's going on, what can you do, who to farm next, and then of course the shout outs that we've already done. So for Arena, I'm looking at your team and I've looked at your inventory. And you have a phenomenal group of people that you can use. And obviously right now you could put in, you know, a Rex lead with R2-D2, Han Solo, Thrawn and Darth Nihilus, or you could put in Chirrut and Baze in the background with Rex lead with R2-D2, or you know what I mean, with Han Solo. There's so many options that you have in your top 2 rows that you could really have fun. But I know this is the team that you desperately want to go with CLS that you just unlocked. Old Ben, Han Solo, Thrawn, and R2-D2. And Han Solo, Thrawn, and R2-D2 are all ready to go. So really, Old Ben is one of the guys you've got to develop out, and CLS you've got to develop out. And I know you just unlocked CLS, so that's why he is really, really paltry. I know normally you can easily get pretty easily into the top 100. And so with that said, if this is the Arena team you want to go with, this is phenomenal. You just have to develop it, obviously. So you got to work on it. You're going to have to get this gearing up. You may, for crystal purposes, have to switch your team out temporarily back to something like a Rex lead, you know, with Thrawn, R2-D2, Old Ben, and Han Solo or something, so that way you can be a little bit more durable in Arena, because right now a Gear 8 CLS is pretty easy to kill, and it may be why you're at 169 right now. But good team, what you have, the idea, everything about it's awesome. Just continue to develop all of these characters. As far as ships go, biggest issue that I see, the reason why you're in the 200s and not any higher, is your ship development. I mean, 2- and 3-star ships. I know you've only been playing for 7 months, but and you probably unlock ships about 2 months in, 2 to 3 months in. So you've been playing ships for 3 to 4 months. It looks like that you're not as focused on ship development as you are probably Arena development. And so the issue with that is you're not going to be able to place very high because you haven't put a huge effort into it. But we can tweak this team that you're using to make it more efficient. And right now it's kind of a hodgepodge. You're using Biggs and Wedge, you're using Rex, you're using a couple of the new Rebel ships. And by the way, those Rebel ships are not bad. Phantom and Ghost are good. I just wouldn't use them in your starting lineup. So in your initial lineup, of course, I would go ahead and use Rex. He's your top left character, most powerful character, and does target lock on basic potentially. So I would definitely keep Rex in there. The Imperial TIE Fighter is also in your top 8, and so I would continue to use the Imperial TIE Fighter. And also Biggs is in that top 8, and so I would continue to use Biggs. Jedi Consular is in your next row, and First Order TIE Fighter is in your next row. And so these are two ships that you're going to have to develop out, the First Order TIE Fighter and Jedi Consular. Now, the reason why I'm suggesting Jedi Consular in your main lineup is because he's going to call assists. He can do that on his very first turn. He is a little bit slower, but he's very tanky, and on his assist call, he's going to call someone that does target lock. So he's kind of like he does target lock on his special. But continue to develop Jedi Consular, both the ship and the guy, and the First Order TIE Fighter. The First Order TIE Fighter is basically he's the Han Solo, the ship. First Order TIE Fighter is the Han Solo of ships. You know, he's the one that does massive damage. My ship can hit for anywhere from 65k to 105k, often with offense up hitting for around 100k, which is pretty amazing. Can one hit many of the ships that I face. And so the First Order TIE Fighter, by not being developed, you are really underutilizing a potential that you have for ships. And then in your backup, I would use your Scimitar, which is up and to the right, in that second row to the right. The Scimitar coming in the first slot of your backup is going to kind of foil the plans of the opponent, whatever they're trying to do. They're going to have to refocus on someone else at that time. And then you do have Phantom and Ghost up, and you want to continue to develop them for the Chimera event that will be coming out. And so since they're really actually decent ships, since your Phoenix squad are actually some of the higher geared characters that you have, and since you need them for Chimera, I would highly recommend you use them in the back two slots. Use the Phantom 2 first, and then the Ghost next. So you would have Scimitar, Phantom 2, and then Ghost. The Phantom 2 also does target lock on potentially two ships, so it plays into a target lock team really well. And then, of course, the Ghost and the Phantom 2 work well together. So that would be the way that I would run the ships, but you definitely need to continue to develop and focus on the pilots and starring up the ships for the Imperial TIE Fighter, Biggs, Rex, First Order TIE Pilot, Jedi Consular, Scimitar, Phantom, and Ghost. Make ships a priority, just like you do the regular Arena. I know that you're in the top 200-ish, and with Arena you're much higher, but it needs to be equally as important, because these ships is one of those places that it is easier to climb than regular Arena. You also asked, who should you be farming? You really wanted to know about farming certain characters. And you were working on First Order. You actually told me you're working on First Order, and so because of that, I'm not going to sway you from where you're at. You're focused right now on First Order, and the reason for this is for BB-8, plus you can use First Order in Territory Wars. They gain a huge bonus in Territory Wars and in Territory Battles. They can work in Territory Battles, and I would actually use those top 5 that you have. You continue to gear them up. Now, the only problem is the First Order TIE Fighter is not farmable yet, and neither is Kylo Ren, but they will go free-to-play farmable soon enough, probably within the next couple of months, and so you can continue to develop them up, and then you can gear them up and star them up. Now, you may want to develop First Order Officer. He's totally free to play, and you already have him 5 stars, and it may help you with your development. The two you really want to focus on, most importantly, is going to be the First Order Stormtrooper and the First Order TIE Pilot. Those are the two hardest to get right now and take the longest to gear, but the First Order Stormtrooper is a phenomenal tank for the dark side with his countering ability and his really high armor rate. He's kind of like a better version of Sunfac, if you will, with the countering capability and his super high armor rate. Just really great tank. So I would start to develop the First Order Stormtrooper and the First Order TIE Pilot and Officer, basically all the 5 that are free to play. The First Order TIE Fighter and Kylo Ren Unmasked, you're not really going to be able to star up at all until probably 2 months from now. So continue to develop your First Order like you're already on track to do, because you definitely want to unlock BB-8. He is an MVP all over the game. You're going to want to use him. He's definitely a great character. And then as far as light side team, was this even a choice, right? The Resistance, you're definitely going to use in all over, from raids to Territory Wars, Territory Battles, all sorts of things. And so you definitely want to continue to develop your Resistance. And all 7 Resistance in the game really should be developed, because you can build 2, actually there's 8 Resistance total. Once you develop all 8 Resistance, you can actually build a phase 2 team and a phase 3 and 4 team out of those eight characters by just adding a couple other characters with those 8. So every single resistance in the game should be developed, in my opinion, as they're all very, very important. So work on resistance, work on first order, and then you'll be able to get your BB-8, and you'll have teams that will really help you in territory wars and whatnot. So like I said, the team you've chosen in Arena is great. Develop it out. In ships, you're doing fine, but definitely you want to make those few tweaks like I suggested, as far as, you know, putting in the Imperial TIE Fighter, First Order TIE Fighter, Biggs, Rex, Jedi Consular, and then backup Scimitar, Phantom, and Ghost. I think you'll do better. Continue to develop those pilots. You can't forget those pilots, which the good news is a few of them are First Order, so that will give you the First Order characters I suggested you continue to work on for BB-8, and of course Resistance. And as always, thanks again to Global Elite and 808 Boss for helping Legacy out, who is now moving over into the free-to-play realm after 7 months of gameplay and moving away from whaledom. So if you have any questions, make sure you leave them in the comments down below, and keep your gaming on. Warrior, out.